spend some time in the race pit area before the meeting starts, and then we encourage the riders to mix with the crowd at the end of the meeting. So as the meeting finishes, the riders virtually walk through the crowd. So it encourages support and reaction, and that's another big selling point. We promote ourselves on a family sport as well. If you look at the terraces, there's 3 generations, families with 3 generations there. And that's what we try and promote as well. The supporters, we don't need to keep them separate. That was a final against Bellevue, Manchester, which are probably our biggest rivals now. A lot of the local tracks have closed down due to development, but we're still going strong. The first meeting at that stadium, Monmouth Green, was in 1928, and we still race on the same track. That's from 1928, so that's over 90 years. We celebrated our 90th anniversary last year. So, as I say, it's a family sport. We promote the fact that there's no trouble. As I say, that was a final against Bellevue, Manchester. No trouble. A lot of vocal stuff, but nothing within the crowd. So I say, promote the fact that it's a family sport. I say the sport has changed dramatically in terms of the media, particularly since I've been involved. We produce a relatively high quality event program, and of the audience, 65 to 70% buy a program, which is a lot bigger take up than if you go to soccer clubs, where their percentage sales is around 20%, right? Because an essential part of following the sport is having to fill in a race card. That is, each race is scored 3 points for the winner, 2 for the second, 1 for the third. And obviously, if the 2 from first and fourth, they've won that race 4-2, first and second 5-1, or 3-all. And that's an integral part of the fun. While you're waiting for the next race to start, you're filling your program and you're talking to the supporter next to you, what about that race? And I think the reason that TV have hooked onto the sport, we've had a TV contract for 18 years now. Originally with Sky Sport up to 2 years ago, and now we're with BT. And I think the reason that they've hooked onto our sport is that it's a very easy program for them to film, because there are gaps, there are ready-made gaps. It's not like them filming a soccer match and there's 45 minutes without advertisements. In this, they can break as often as they want, because it's a minute race, 15 of those, and the program's spread over 2 hours. So they fill that space with a lot of advertisements and interview with the competitors and everything. So it is a good TV product. For one reason or another, and I can never understand why, since we've been on a TV contract, the audiences on a regular basis have not improved. But everybody is more aware of the sport now. If I'm invited to functions by Wolverhampton City Council, and they have a huge respect for all the sport that happens in their town, and I frequently get involved to functions, and they say, what? And they see my label, Chris Van Strand Speedway. They know about Speedway now because they flick through the channels and they've seen it. But to get people to come along on a regular basis is still very hard. When we get to those finals, because the leagues are on a playoff, the crowds can be double what you get on a normal basis. And these are people that maybe have seen it, flicking through the sports channels, watched it, thought, well, that's quite nice, but still sitting there, comfy chair at home, and don't actually put any money in my pocket and come and watch it. But people are more aware, they understand. Before we got on TV, I would go to these functions and people would say, good heavens, is Speedway still going? And they would mention a rider that rode in the 1950s. Yeah. So at least people are more aware of Speedway. And you're going to surprise me by telling me, before it was arranged I was coming, you've never heard of Speedway. Please don't disappoint me and tell me that, because I do believe that people are more aware of the sport. But it's probably where you can help along this course is that how do we get those people that watch it to come along? And we try and start with the younger family element. Kids for £1 is also our selling point. It's just £1 to bring those children along to watch the sport. Under 6 is free, and then up to 13 it's just £1. So if family comes along and they've got a couple of children, it's just £2 to bring them along. So we try and encourage those, to come along. As I say, we encourage the riders. We have mascots, just like the football club do, but ours is free. You just come along and be a mascot and go out on weight. We're trying to do everything that we can to encourage people to come along. Our social media, which is under the control of my son Mark, has proved very successful in the last 3 or 4 years. You know, we have what we're proud of, quite a substantial following now. We've got 11,800 followers on Twitter, and we've got 10,700 followers on Facebook. And we do not follow people just to get followed back. If you look at who we follow, it's in the hundreds. So it's not a case of getting those figures artificially. These are people that are really interested in the sport or to follow us. We've started Instagram literally 3 or 4 months ago, and that's up to 2,500. So we're doing everything in that direction to try and come into the modern era and promote the sport. We used to, when I first started, spend a lot of money by comparison with local newspapers. That's dying now, because newspaper trade is dying, as you're well aware. We still advertise in like monthly magazines that the local newspapers tend to produce now. And we also advertise, we have a contract to advertise in the free ones you get pushed through your door. There's 6 of those printed locally, and we're in those. So when you're flicking through, you can read them at the Speedway. So obviously it's a limited budget that we operate to, but I feel now I get more value for the budget in the modern era than I did in the old days, because the cost of newspaper advertising years ago was very, very expensive. You know, and you could never tell, you know, the famous saying, which years and years ago, wasn't it, you know, of all the money you spend on advertising and promoting, 50% is absolute waste of time. But we never know which 50%. I mean, that's the secret to it, you know. We never know if we're wasting our money or not. But we try and modernise, we try and do everything we can to promote this sport, as I say, and we're proud of the attempts that we're making. It's a limited budget, and this is probably where you'll be very helpful in advising me how I can get more value for money. Of course, it is a limited budget. I'd like now, if we can, to show you the other DVD of the meeting. And this is NGK Spark Clubs, who sponsor us quite heavily at Monmouth Green because of his connection with all motorsports NGK. And they have produced this themselves, their Gentleman crew, and they produced this to send out to their customers, and it's been on their website. Now, if you go into the NGK website, on the home page, the first thing you see at the moment is this DVD of our final meeting at Monmouth Green last year, which is followed by a huge fireworks display.